As you begin to look toward the future and you look at yourself right now, it's very important for you to say yes to whatever dreams you have of doing more and experiencing more. Because when you do that, you're literally extending your life. You're adding more quality and richness and fullness to your life. So I want you to practice constantly looking at where you could be if you gave yourself permission. Many people, once they reach a certain level, they stop there and they relax and they lay back on their laurels. So look at your life right now and look into the future and constantly hold a larger vision beyond where you are, doing more and achieving more. Just look at yourself and start using your imagination and see the universe as your playground where you're going to come out and challenge yourself to do more and use all your talents and skills in another area. Now, I want you to begin to realize that when you say you want to do something that's beyond your comfort zone, that will ignite or trigger some inner conversations, and 87% of those inner conversations, most studies indicate, those are negative conversations. In fact, they did a study at UCLA with a swimming team, and they told these particular swimmers, hey, your swimming score wasn't very good. In fact, it's in a new book out recently, and this gentleman who did the study said that they noticed something different about the performers in the swimming meet. One group, when they came back to swim again, they did better. Another group, they didn't do so well. But what made the difference? One said, hey, it was a fluke. I can do better than that. And came and did better than that. The other one probably said, hey, I'm not as good as I thought I was and did far less than what they would have done. That negative conversation. How many times have you said that you wanted to do something and you talked yourself out of it? It was 14 years ago when I saw a speaker up speaking and I said I could do that as I looked around the auditorium. But guess what? It took 9 years for me to act on that first conversation within myself, because after I said that I can do it, I allowed the negative part of me, that lower consciousness, to dominate my thinking. And that's what I responded to. I'm suggesting to you that when you have some negative conversations, building a logical case on why you cannot live your dream, that you don't have the money, or you don't have the training, you don't have the contact, you don't have what it takes, you're not good enough. Building a case on why you can't do it, what you must do is ignore that inner conversation and then start building a case on why you can do it. Start looking at and checking out what are the things I do in fact need to work on. See, many times you can have a yes I can attitude, but a no I can aptitude. So make sure that you don't hype yourself up and go forward trying to pursue your dream without proper preparation. Now, once you determine what it is you want to do and you hold the vision, you've looked at what you need to do to begin to develop yourself, write your goals down. A lot of people just never take the time to do that. I suggest, and this is what I do, I write my goals down and I read them 3 times a day. Why do you do that? Because I believe that whatever you hold in consciousness, whatever you focus on, that is what you're going to begin to multiply and produce in your life experience. If you look at your life right now, if what we have in our lives, as Dennis Waitley would say, is a result of our current dominant thinking, then in order to begin to change the results we have, and Jack Bolin has a saying, if you want to keep on getting what you're getting, keep on doing what you're doing. We want to begin to feed our minds some different types of thoughts and different types of visions. So as you begin to visualize, holding constantly, tenaciously, even when you have no evidence to support your doing this, the vision of what you have of yourself, and then you write your goals down and you are reading those goals constantly, you're feeding yourself with motivational tapes and motivational books, as well as talking to yourself to drown out those inner conversations that you might have. So I'm saying to you, start saying yes to yourself by drowning out that inner conversation. Talk to yourself. And don't talk casually. Speak with power, feeling, and conviction. Because you want to begin to override and short-circuit that lower part of you to begin to express the higher self, that higher consciousness, to tap that unlimited power, that boundless energy that you showed up with, that you were endowed with. See, you came with everything you need. I think it was Buckminster Fuller who said that all of us are born geniuses, but some of us are more brain damaged than others. Because of the damage we receive from life, where we're told more about our limitations rather than our potential, is the reason that most of us go to our graves and take our music with us. So as you begin to, as Browning would say, release the imprisoned splendor, as you look toward the future with this larger vision, as you are forming your right to begin to express more and to experience more in life and saying yes to your dreams, write your dreams down, look at them, write them in detail, and be exact on what you want. Be exact. You know, there's a team that said they had a goal of going to the Super Bowl. Well, they went, and they got whipped. See, they should have said, my goal is to go to the Super Bowl and win. Be exact. I believe that all of us came here with something. All of us showed up to give something, and that nobody's going to give that service that you have to give. No one's going to produce your product. No one's going to write your book. No one's going to open your academy. No one's going to begin to create your daycare with a special curriculum to help to cultivate the high self-esteem in our children. That's your idea. And if you don't bring your idea out here, when you die, all of us will suffer because we've been deprived of your genius. You take it to your grave with you. And that's what most people do. I think that's why the guy said that many people die at age 21 and don't get buried until they're 65. They're walking dead. You can tell them by the way they walk. How they look in the face. When they speak to you. I was giving a speech in this high school, and a lady came after school. She said, Mr. Brown, I want to talk to you about my son. I said, what is it? She said, he's not motivated. I said, I wonder why. That boy just sit home and eat and look at television, eating with me. I said, I wonder where he got that from. You can't talk right and walk left. Oh, what is it? Are you surprised? Come on. No, here's something else. You know, people that make it in life, you got to have energy, ladies and gentlemen. You got to have life. If you're excited about what you're doing, even in the area of selling, you know people don't buy because of logic or reasoning. People buy because of your way of feeling. If you're excited about what you do, people will come watch you burn. So, whatever you do, you got to be excited about. I have a friend named Bob Boyd. He's from Columbus, Ohio. Years ago, we joined a company called Best Line Products. Great company. It was soap. I mean, I had a whole lot of soap. I don't know how Bob got me. I bought about $3,000 worth of soap. It was in my living room. My former wife thought I was completely insane. But I was pursuing my dream, my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Well, Bob, it's one thing, and this brings me to the next step. Don't stop until you reach your goal. Let me tell you why. Bob came to me, he said, Les, I got this idea. I said, what is it, Bob? Man, I got this idea. We're going to make a whole lot of money. Now, let me give you a little background. I've been knowing Bob since 1972. Bob has never had a good idea. Well, we've lost a whole lot of money together. But here's what I admire about Bob. Bob has not lost any of his fire. He's got what Winston Churchill talked about. Winston Churchill said, you must be courageous. And he said, courage is the capacity to go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. So I want to warn you, when you come out here from your dream, you're going to experience some failure, you're going to experience some disappointment, you're going to have all that. Rejection, no's, that's going to be a part of you. You'll lose money, all that. You're going to wonder sometimes, how will I make it? Where will the money come to pay the bills? That's all a part of it. Don't be surprised when that happens to you. But don't lose the courage to continue to pursue your dream. Bob said, Les, man, I've been working on this idea. All this exposure you got, man, you could make a fortune. This thing is a money machine. I said, talk to me, Bob. Talk to me. When he got to explaining, I said, sign me up, Bob. Sign me up. He said, now what did I tell you? I said, I don't know, but I want to play. I want to play. Because he was so excited about it. People don't like to be around dead people. No, let the dead bury the dead. No, don't. Keep them away from you before they grab you or hold on to you. So the fact that whatever you do, you want to be excited about it. You want to have the kind of excitement that is so contagious that people want to be around you. Because whatever you're doing, whatever you talk to people about this particular idea that you have, they're looking at you and they want to know, do you believe it? And are you the kind of person they want to be in business with? And if you're not positive, if you're not energetic, if you're not fired up about it, how can you expect anybody else to be fired up about your idea? Am I right? Now here's something else I want you to look at. When you get ready to work on your goals, you're going to have some problems. Why? It's called life. I don't know. It comes with the territory. When you're going from one level to the other, when you get on an airplane, what is the first thing that they tell you to do before you take off? They tell you, you're right, fasten your seatbelts. Absolutely. Because you're going to experience some turbulence before you reach a comfortable altitude. So therefore, I'm suggesting to you right now, get ready. Murphy's Law is going to visit you. The messenger of misery will visit you. Who's the messenger of misery? Don't worry. I remember when Marlon Brando had a news conference right after his son was adjudicated for allegedly killing his sister's boyfriend. And I'll never forget, after looking at Entertainment Tonight, when he was interviewed and the news reporters thrust microphones in his face and said, Mr. Brando, what do you have to say about today's proceedings? And he paused and reflected. And he said, the messenger of misery visited my house today. And I thought about that. I said, wow. And I sat down and I reflected. I said, when the messenger of misery visited his house, he passed my house going there. See, the messenger of misery is either at your house now, or he just left there, or he's on the way there. He's on his way. Don't worry. But wait a minute, why does he have to come? I don't know. Viktor Frankl calls it unavoidable suffering. I mean, it's too much pain in life to try and duck it. You're going to get your visit. Everybody will have their visit. Donald Trump, it wasn't long ago, was a darling of the press. Wealth and affluence and everything was great for him. And less than a year later, everything began to crumble. It's called life. I think it was Charles Udall who said that in life, you always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges. And that's where you grow. See, when you are working on your dream, you're going to have some challenges. In the prosperous years, you put it in your pocket. In the lean years, you put it in your heart. See, the first time I purchased a home for my mother, I lost it. It was enough to make me want to give up. To say, well, I've lost all of my money in this deal. I guess I just have to settle for just renting now because I made a complete jackass out of myself by not following the details that were necessary to consummate the deal. See, I purchased a home for my mother. That was a major goal for me, and I achieved that goal. Well, guess what happened in the negotiations? My attorney asked me while I was there ready to sign the contract and hand over $12,000 of hard-earned money that I had saved to fulfill a childhood dream of purchasing a home for my mother. And the messenger of misery came in the room unbeknownst to me and handled things quietly. My attorney asked, do you have a title search on this property, Mr. Brown, that you're purchasing for your mother? I said, no, I don't. What's a title search? She said, that's when you find out whether or not there are any liens against the property that you might inherit. And And if there are, then the owner is required to take care of those things. And the person that I was buying the property from said, excuse me, there are no liens against the property. And it will take 2 or 3 days to have this done. My attorney said, I recommend that you do that before signing this contract. And the guy said at that moment, listen, I don't want to make this deal right now as it is. I really don't feel good about it on one hand because I'm losing money. I'm not using my mind, I'm using my heart. The only reason that I'm selling you this house is I admire the fact that you are adopted and you love your mother and you want to purchase this house for her. I have several other buyers that want to buy this property and pay me more money. Mister, I spent my time and money coming down here early, and I'm losing money providing this deal for you because I think it's a blessing for your mother and for you. Now, if you want to take care of the deal now, let's do it. If not, I'm not going to wait 2 or 3 days and lose money too in time from my job and my business. So I said, is there any liens whatsoever against the property? He said, no. I looked at him and I looked at my attorney and I said, I believe him. And she shook her head and she said, I would not suggest that you do that. And I said, I believe him. I want to get it now. I'll just take the chance on faith. And we signed a contract. And I gave him a certified check of $12,000. He looked me in the eyes and he said, God bless you, young man. God bless you. And embraced me and left. And I felt so good, and I went to pick my mother up. And we drove to the house, and I said, Mama, this is for you. And my mother looked at the house from the car. She said, oh no. Who would believe when I adopted you and your brother that this would happen? I gave her the keys, and I went round to the door, and I opened the door, and I took her inside the gate, and we walked inside the house, and she walked around and she said, oh, thank you, Lord. And her eyes were so filled with tears, and they began to trickle down her cheek, and she said, who would believe you when you caused me so many damn problems? I was such a problem child. But that was a major dream that I had. You know, Abraham Lincoln said, all that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother. And I wanted to do that. That was a childhood goal of mine. And then, after we were in the house for a while, and it was a real big thing around Liberty City, when we had the movers come and the neighbors were talking and they came out and said, bye, Mamie. We're going to miss you, and I know you're so proud. You know, Mamie adopted the twins. Well, the young one, the bad one, yes, Leslie. He brought her home. Oh, wasn't that nice? God's going to bless you, boy. Oh, isn't that so nice? And so we said bye to everybody, and we took the furniture to the new place that I purchased for my mother. And then the messenger of misery started dropping little letters in the mailbox. And the letters said, notification that there is going to be a sheriff's sale on the county steps. There's a lien against the property. And I read the letter, and I couldn't believe it. It was a long time, like several weeks after the signing of the contract, so I'd forgotten the conversation with the attorney and the owner of the property. And I called and said, what do you mean that this property is going up for sheriff's sale on the county steps? And the gentleman said, there's a lien of $25,000 against the property. I said, but excuse me, there must be some mistake. I just purchased this property, and I did not get any loan, sir. I said, I'm sorry, sir, but the person that I represent had filed a lien against the property. I said, but I wasn't the person that got the loan. I said, no, did you get a title search? I said, no, I did not. Well, had you had a title search done, you would have known that the money was owed. I said, oh, I didn't know. I said, well, can I make some arrangements to pay you? What about $1,000 or $2,000 a month? I said, I'm sorry, my client wants all of the money. But sir, I can't give you all of it. See, I bought this house for my mom. I'm adopted, and she's in her 80s, and she's got a bad heart and everything. This would just be too much of a shock of grief for her. Please, just give me a chance. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. We need all of the money. The messenger of misery had dealt me a hand. And I agonized over that. I felt angry. I said, God, why would you do this to me? You know, I was reminded the lady was in the back of an ambulance, and she was crying. Her son was shot, and she looked at the doctor and she said, why did this happen to my son? And the doctor said, why not you? Who would you suggest? And see, when I asked life, why did this have to happen to me? Life said, why not you? Leslie Calvin Brown, why not you? The messenger of misery said gleefully, as I was crying and agonizing over what I was going to do and trying to get money and trying to get loans, and I couldn't get it, and agonizing, trying to find out how can I stop people from bringing mail to the house that my mother might get, and how I can set up a way to intercept the mail and stop people from coming by to look at the property that was going up for shelf sale, and convincing my mother that it would not happen. And as I was going through all of this, it was extremely challenging, but eventually I had to tell my mother. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I went in the room and I said, Mama, there's something I've got to tell you. We're going to lose the house. And I'll never forget, as I was kneeling by the bed, and she woke up and she said, I didn't like this house anyway. I said, what? You gotta be kidding. She said, no, the steps, they hurt my knees, my arthritis when I'm going up and down the steps. I just said I like the house because of you. I said, oh no. But I learned a lot from that, because what I did was I had to learn to let that go. That was one of the challenges I had to go through in order to get a better life for my mother. It was something that I could allow to devastate me, or it was something that I could learn from to empower me. And I let that go. I can't even remember the person's name. I concentrated my energy and focused on what was I going to do to earn more money. I got more speaking engagements, more training opportunities. I made more calls. I invested more time and energy to expand my business. And I got my mother another home in a better neighborhood. And now she's happier than she's ever been. It's called life. As you say yes to your dreams, decide that you're not going to give up no matter what. Write your reasons down on why it's important to you. Talk to yourself when you find that inner conversation that the world has given you, that negative part of you saying you can't do it. Affirm over and over again, speaking with power, feeling, and conviction, I can do it. I will do it. Yes, I can, and yes, I will. And never give up. And as you do that, as you sell yourself on your ability to make it happen, as you continue to plunge forward, as you are relentless in finding ways, becoming more creative and resourceful and determined that you're going to make it happen, in the words of James Weldon Johnson, you will snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. See, the addiction to mediocrity is more pervasive than any drug that we have on the market today. Are you addicted? If you've decided there's greatness within you, and there is, whether you believe it or not, if you've decided that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you ought to be, if you've decided to say yes to your dreams, yes to life in spite of the odds, in spite of what other people say, in spite of the fact you can't get other people to approve you, but you've decided to approve yourself, I say that's a good decision that you can make. To look yourself in the face one day and say, I'm glad to be me. That you can now start thinking about what is it that you want to do with the rest of the life that you have. And what kind of difference you want to make on the planet. What is it that you want to bring out here? What is it that you want to share? What idea that you want to begin to act on that none of us will ever be the same again, because you showed up and because you've been dropped off on this part of the planet. You've got something special, and don't you